Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, the Brooke Ashley, and today we are here to quickly discuss the season finale of Porsha's Family Matters, and I have quite a lot to say. Baby, this show was not it. This was a total and complete disaster, a flop, a miss, a fail. But before we get into that, I just wanted to quickly say thank you guys. Thank you all to my new subscribers for joining. We have a good time on this channel. You guys already know that every time there's a new milestone, I always run out and get balloons. So I had to get the 9K balloons on deck. I just really can't believe it. A nice way to start off the new year, and I am just so blessed. I'm so thankful for all of you guys, and you guys are just awesome. And y'all really make what I do so much fun. So again, thank you so much for the love. 9K, we are here, and 10K, here we come.
Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. My God.
And you already know that it's not a true celebration without some champagne. And today we have one of my favorites, which is a rosé. So I am quite excited. Let's toast it up, y'all. I mean, you only hit 9,000 subscribers once, okay? And we're also celebrating because this is the finale and hopefully the end of Porsha's show. I'm praying that it does not come back for a season 2. So let's just cheers to this being off of our TV screens, all right?
We drinking strawberry and champagne. Hold on, let me get a strawberry. Let me get a strawberry. I love it. Strawberry mature.
Cheers, guys. So good. So with all that being said, let's just jump right on into this recap because we don't have a minute to spare. So I'm going to just give a quick rundown of what happened, and then I'm just going to quickly discuss the mess, my thoughts and opinions about where I see Porsha going overall since this travesty of a spinoff has aired. In this finale episode, we see that Porsha's a bit worried and nervous because her daughter PJ is going for surgery to have her tonsils removed. Now, while she's preparing herself and PJ for the surgery, we see that she's talking about the Mexico trip and how she pretty much feels like she is not to be blamed. She also feels like Dennis is the one in the wrong. I'm like, what planet are you on? We saw the footage. I do hope you know that. We saw what happened in episode 6. That was an absolute disgrace. You lunged for Dennis and his mother. You were throwing plates, boom mics to physically harm them. You look absolutely ridiculous. And the fact that you have the gall and the audacity to say that somebody else owes you an apology. I loved how when Dennis came over to drop PJ off at Porsha's house and Porsha was trying to invite him in to have a talk, and he was like, no, I have other things to do. You know, I'll see you at the hospital the day of PJ's surgery. He says in his confessional that Porsha could step on your foot and she wouldn't even apologize to you for that. It's evident that Porsha does not want to take responsibility for her actions, and it's clear that she has a very hard time admitting when she's wrong. We see the day of PJ's surgery, although cameras were not allowed into the hospital, we find out that Porsha and Dennis had to wait in the waiting room together, and it was a small waiting room. And she says, we got into this crazy fight in Mexico, and then being in this small room together, it was like, what do I say to him? How about the words, I'm sorry? I'm sorry for trying to put my hands on you and your mother. I'm sorry for showing my ass. I'm sorry for being nasty to you. I'm sorry for giving you a hard time about bringing a date to the trip. How about that? It's just very sad that Porsha wants to play dumb and always play the victim in every single situation. You are not the victim. Porsha is an aggressor. I don't care what anybody says. Porsha is still in love with Dennis. You can see it every time she talks about him, every time they're face to face together. It is clear. In the following scene with Cousin Londi and Porsha meeting up to talk, Londi is airing out how she feels about Porsha. She calmly says, Porsha, I feel like during the trip, you were making excuses for Storm, and I feel like you and I could be closer. Then Londi brings up that she used to be Porsha's assistant once upon a time, but Porsha ended up firing her. So now Londi brings up how Dennis told her that Porsha wanted her fired. So of course Porsha's playing dumb, talking about what? I don't remember that happening. And then 2 seconds later, we see in the confessional that Porsha indeed fired her because Londi didn't pack her toiletries in her Chanel purse the right way. So a bag of oil burst in her purse, and she was so pissed because it was her favorite Chanel purse, and that's why she wanted Londi gone. I'm like, the fact that you can't even own up that you did want your cousin gone, like, it's enough already. Londi seems to have made peace with it. Just say, you know what, girl? I love you to death. You caught me on the wrong day, and I wanted you gone. Why is it so difficult for Porsha to have an adult conversation? So now Londi brings up another conversation that she had with Dennis, and how Dennis told her repeatedly, like, why do you put up with Porsha treating you so poorly, and the fact that you're not in her inner circle? So now Porsha's getting more defensive, and she's like, what are you talking about? I can't believe you would even listen to Dennis. Like, that's not true at all. We all have eyes. It's clear that Porsha favors her yes men and doesn't really care for the family members who actually do check her and tell her when she's wrong. And because Londi seems to also have a pretty level head and she's not kissing Porsha's ass, she's not that close to Londi. So of course, since Porsha is the immature dummy that she is, she has the nerve to flip this back on Londi, and she says, well, you weren't there for me when I was in an abusive marriage. So Londi's like, are you kidding me right now? Like, I was in college and you were, the older cousin. Like, I didn't hear from you. Like, what are you saying right now? Like, I had no idea. So of course Porsha storms off. She's cursing and screaming. Production has to calm her down. I was like, was she gonna fight Londi? I'm like, the fact that you can't have a normal conversation and hear somebody else's side about things, that's a problem. I don't know what Miss Diane was doing when it came time to raising Porsha, but it's clear that she fell asleep at the wheel, because it makes no sense that Porsha cannot conduct herself like a normal adult. That conversation did not need to go left like that. Her getting up and cursing like that and saying that she's out of here, that makes no sense. I felt so bad when Londi started crying, and you could tell that Londi was so frustrated, like, I'm just trying to tell her how I feel, and now she's trying to blow up at me and act like I'm in the wrong. If I were Londi, I would have cursed Porsha clean out and just walked out of the restaurant. I'm not going to sit up here and be gaslit like this. Nobody's going to make me feel like I'm wrong for expressing my feelings about a situation. Absolutely not. Then we see Porsha come back to the table, and now she's trying to console Londi, and she's like, stop crying, I love you, I'm the big cousin, like, I love you right now, like, stop all this crying, like, just stop, I'm not mad at you. And then Londi says, I regret even trying to have this conversation. I just found that to be so evil of Porsha. Here your younger cousin is saying, Porsha, when you did X, Y, and Z, that hurt my feelings, you didn't have my back, like, I really didn't appreciate how you did that. And the fact that Porsha went off the rails like that, that's unacceptable. Porsha's a loser at her big age, and I was just too through, like, what's wrong with you? I see why Porsha's other cousin, Lady T Ford on Instagram, blasted her a few days ago. Because Porsha clearly wants yes men all around her. She cannot stand people to tell her the truth about herself. It's everybody else's fault except hers. She does no wrong. And if anybody dare tell her that she indeed hurt their feelings or she was out of line, she just cuts them off and she starts screaming and yelling at somebody or trying to threaten physical violence. I do believe that had the cameras not been there, she would have cursed Londi out and she probably would have tried to lay hands on her. Londi, if you stumble across this video, I hope and pray that you cut ties with Porsha. Your older cousin is an idiot. And on top of that, she's not considerate of other people's feelings. And she doesn't want to take accountability for anything, and she wants yes men around her. And you don't seem to be a yes person. So I would get away from all that craziness immediately. We see Aunt Liz at her event for the Hosea Williams Foundation, and we see, the guests arriving, and we see Simon show up. Porsha can't be there because little PJ is not feeling well, so she's going to take her back to the doctor. So now we see Simon getting up in Aunt Liz's face, and he's saying to Aunt Liz that the family needs to respect Porsha more and treat her better. Did y'all see Aunt Liz's face? She looked so pissed, like, I know this Negro is not in my face telling me what's what. And Simon, I'm so happy that you got ate up on social media for that because you were out of line. How dare you tell Porsha's aunt that they need to treat her better? The way Porsha carries on, the way that nobody says anything or corrects her behavior, I would say that they treat her pretty well. You need to worry about treating her with respect. The fact that you proposed to her while you were still married is disrespectful. You're the last person who needs to talk about respect. And the way I screamed when Simon had the nerve to say that Porsha comes from good stock and a good foundation, I said, what? She does? If she did, she wouldn't be acting the way that she acts. She wouldn't be trying to hit her daughter's grandmother. But she comes from good stock. Got it. The final scene of this finale, we see Porsha and Dennis meeting up 4 months later, and the way this entire scene went all the way left. They haven't even ordered their food yet, and Porsha is being very nasty to Dennis. Dennis is just asking her how it's going. He makes a joke about the fur that she's wearing, like, oh, that fur looks familiar. She's all rude, like, well, you didn't buy it for me, Simon actually did, so yeah, I would say it's pretty nice. Then he's asking her about her engagement, and she's like, why do you care? I'm like, he's just trying to be nice and make conversation. Just answer the question. I don't understand why you have to be so rude about it. If you were as in love with Simon as you say that you are, you wouldn't be so snippy when Dennis asks you a simple question about your fiance, now would you? But like I said, Porsha knows that deep down inside, she is still in love with Dennis. Porsha says that she wants to move forward and just leave the past in the past. I'm sorry, but the way that my petty is set up, I can't move forward until I receive an apology. I'm not moving forward after you try to physically harm me and my mother. That's not happening. And the fact that Porsha has the audacity to be so flippant about the situation that she started is absolute madness. Porsha really does not realize how great she made Dennis look. Like, I like Dennis a lot. He seems to be a gentleman. He seems to have some good common sense. And he is high-key the star and the MVP of this show. So, of course, Porsha's being nasty. She says that, she wants to have her life and let Dennis have his life. Then she low-key mentions that she and Simon are moving into the city. So now Dennis is like, wait, what? Like, you are? Well, what part? Now remember, when Porsha and Dennis were engaged, there was some tension about where they were going to live because Porsha wanted to stay in Duluth and Dennis wanted to live in the city. He wanted to live in Buckhead, if I remember. So the fact that she now wants to move into the city, he's like, really? So Dennis is asking her, like, oh, okay, well, what part? Buckhead, Sandy Springs, like where? So she's like, around there. I'm like, sis, y'all share a daughter. So you do need to tell your daughter's father where you and your soon-to-be husband are going to be living. So you trying to play coy and be nasty, not tell him where you live, like you sound crazy. Dennis doesn't want you, sis, so you don't need to worry about him popping over. Then Porsha goes on to talk about schools and how PJ is going to be going to a school in the city. So Dennis says, well, we need to look at schools together because that's still my kid and I should have a say-so in where she goes. So now here's where things really go left, child. Porsha gets real passive-aggressive and she's making all these digs at Dennis. So she's like, well, at the end of the day, we need to figure out our co-parenting situation and we need to move on from the romantic to like family because I just view you as a brother. I'm like, baby, the fact that you even have to say that means that you still have feelings for this man. Then Porsha continues by saying that she came into this with nothing but love for Dennis and his mother. And Dennis is getting really angry because he can sense the passive aggressiveness too. So Dennis tells her clearly, please do not bring my mom into this at all. I would feel the same way because how dare you bring her into this when you try to hit her? Absolutely not. You clearly have no respect and no love for my mother for you to even think that you were going to throw something at her or punch her. So now Dennis says, look, at the end of the day, we're still family. We have this kid together. It is what it is. Porsha's getting upset and she says, no, we're not family. You're PJ's family and that's it, but you are not mine. So now Dennis wants to know if Porsha received any of the paperwork in the mail. And she says, no, she hasn't seen anything. So Dennis says, okay, well, when you get it, let me know because we're going to let a judge decide about the co-parenting situation. He wants joint custody. Baby, the minute Dennis brought up a judge in court and joint custody, Porsha went off the rails. So of course, Porsha is livid. She's like, we don't need a judge involved in anything. We can figure this out ourselves. So Dennis says, no, we can't. Like, we are going to the judge. And that's that. Like, I have a say in my daughter's life, her education, religion. Like, I have a say-so. Like, that's my kid too. Baby, here's where Porsha is trying to put some spin on the situation and paint her baby father out to be a deadbeat. She's like, well, what do you really pay for? He says, I pay for her school. Then she says, well, what else do you pay for? Because I pay for everything. Dennis is so pissed. He's like, girl, stop. Like, what we're not going to do is act like I don't contribute when it comes to my daughter. Then Porsha says that Dennis is hardly in Atlanta anyway, and how he's always traveling, and he's pretty much lucky that Porsha allows him to see their daughter. So you already know that there's going to be no resolution with this conversation, and they are going to be on the outs yet again. Child, Porsha starts screaming at the top of her lungs, and the producers have to calm her down. Dennis is like, let's get the check. Like, I'm done with this. I'm not talking anymore. I'll see you in court. Now, mind you, they haven't even eaten their food. Like, the waitress was just bringing the food out, and they're already leaving. Dennis calls Porsha a liar, and he goes on to say how this was an epic fail for her. And we see Porsha screaming and talking to herself, saying that this man threatened to take me to court, and she's just really angry. Then we see Porsha's last confessional, and she says that Dennis got tired of playing the good guy role, and now his true colors have come out. If that's what's going to get you to sleep at night, then so be it. This final scene, it was evident that Porsha is scared to death that Dennis is going to have her hemmed up in court. If Dennis does decide to go to that judge and he shows a judge the footage from what happened in Mexico, he could easily have full custody. I think that it's a true shame that Porsha did this spinoff. Like I said in the last video, I think that Porsha was better off coming back on to Atlanta and just letting the women shade her, and that would have been that. But the fact that she decided to do this spinoff and it turned out to be this crazy, and the fact that she exposed herself, we are now seeing her true character, and it's not good. This is a woman who deflects, doesn't own up to anything. She treats her family very poorly, and the way she likes to spin things when it's clearly her fault. Her trying to paint Dennis out to be a deadbeat father was absolutely pathetic and disgusting. And it was clear that she was grasping at straws to deflect from her poor behavior in Mexico. My final thoughts, I'm glad that this stupid show is over. I am hoping and praying to God that it is not renewed. I'm hoping that this is a one and done. And honestly, I don't know where Porsha is going to be able to go from here. And honestly, I don't even know if RHOA would even want her back. Unless she's going to do a storyline where it's like a redemption arc and she wants to be a new person and, you know, she's trying to be better and work on herself. I just don't know what her storyline would even be for RHOA season 15. If she's not going to grow up and take some responsibility, then she doesn't need to be back on TV. I think it's really foolish of her. You know, she quit all those jobs. She had a really sweet gig at Dish Nation. She quit that. I don't see her and Simon lasting for another 3 months. I don't even see them making it down the aisle. But Porsha, this show was a total flop. You made a complete ass of yourself. Dennis looks like the MVP, the hero, and I would not be mad if Bravo gave Dennis and Mama Gina a spinoff. I would actually like to see that. But y'all, that was the finale. Glad that this trash is off of our screens. And with all that being said, thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. And as always, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you all later. Bye.